You're watching PowerNation.
Today on Detroit Muscle, we drop a legendary power plant into the heart of our Hurst-Olds, and then catch up with a few thousand friends at Holly's MoParty.
Subject matter for today is plain and simple. That would be power. So it's out with the old and in with the new.
That's right, and as many of you know, there's no replacement for displacement. And we've been saving this power plant for a very special occasion. This big block 455 was ported and polished by Dr. Olds himself, Joe Mondello. Joe was famous for being an engine whisperer who could squeeze out every ounce of performance possible. His cylinder heads were used by some of the fastest drivers ever, setting several racing records, and he even opened his own school to pass on his knowledge and expertise to future generations. Saying that this engine is special is an understatement, so we needed a special project to do it justice. Our Hurst-Olds was just what the doctor ordered.
We had a lot of rusty hardware to remove before yanking out the old engine and transmission. And that's where Deepcrete comes in. Exhaust manifold bolts are notorious for being difficult to remove. Usually they seem to twist off, and man, they can be a pain to repair. Deepcrete helps to break down all those decades of dirt and debris, busting up all that rust. Even if you have to use a torch to heat up these stubborn bolts, Deepcrete won't dissipate when exposed to high temperatures. It's made from powerful petroleum ingredients and won't damage polymers, resins, or deteriorate plastics or ruin any rubber gaskets. It's safe on paint and even removes road tar. It's non-corrosive and VOC compliant. Deepcrete is fast, safe, and reliable no matter your project. You know, it'd be kind of a downright shame to put that pretty gold motor off into this engine bay, but I guess that could be a way to get a few YouTube comments.
I tell you what though, I think we lucked out. There's not a whole lot of rust or anything like that, and it's not even really greasy, it's just dirty.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little rubbing for sure to get it cleaned back up, and it's kind of necessary.
Pressure washer does most of the work though, that's the best part.
Let me get this engine out of the way.
For the most part, this engine bay wasn't too dirty. It just needed a quick pressure wash. With a little bit of elbow grease and a quick spray of some Sonax engine cleaner, I was able to shine up this middle-aged motorhome to match the shiny Olds big block we are throwing under the hood. We put a lot of effort into restoring the finish of this Hurst-Olds, so it only made sense to have that look carry over to the rest of the car. The engine bay is just one of those areas that can go a long way with a quick clean to add curb appeal to your ride. Luckily, it was in good enough shape that we didn't need to paint it. So hitting it with a pressure washer and some Sonax brought back that showroom shine.
With all the grunt that our new engine is going to be making, that old transmission that we pulled out isn't going to cut it. What we removed is a 200 R4. It's not necessarily a bad transmission, it's just considered light duty. Converting over to a manual really isn't an option because we have to retain that cool triple stick lightning rod shifter. If you're looking to do an automatic overdrive conversion, there's several numbers that you'll hear, like a 700 R4, a 4L60, a 65, a 70, and an 80E. To choose the best one for your application, well, there's a few things that you should consider. First off, let's talk about size. The case of a 700R4 is somewhat slimmer, and usually these slide right into place into those older vehicles without having to modify the tunnel. With the newer style 4L65 and 70E, the case is a bit more bulky, so you may run into clearance issues. If you go with an 80E, you better plan on doing some cutting. A lot of us like modern conveniences like fuel injection, and if you're running drive-by-wire, an option for you could be a 4L60E. They require electronics for it to operate correctly, and they can be tuned to accommodate your driving style. If you wanted to use a 700R4, it can be a little bit complicated because it uses a cable to regulate the line pressure, and this right here is supposed to be connected to your throttle blade. If you have wires in a throttle motor, there's really nothing to connect this to. The next thing you want to consider is how do you plan to drive your speedometer. The 700R4 has a mechanical drive and would use an old school cable, whereas the others all have a speed sensor. This is just a few of the pros and cons of automatic transmissions out there. And as always, it's a good idea for you guys to do your homework to figure out which one works best in your situation. For us in our Hurst-Olds, well, the choice was pretty simple with us running that retro power plant. We're going to use this 700R4 SS from Monster Transmission. It's built to complement engines producing up to 650 horse and 600 pound-feet of torque. Their kit comes with everything needed for installation, including converter, fluid, cooler, and so on. This is also just a drop in a bucket of what they offer. They can build you anything from mild to wild.
Coming up, we add some real thunder to this lightning shifted ride.
Slow down.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming. There you go.
Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. It's cool sounds.
Fits like a glove.
Fell in.
Bingo. Think she's gonna fit?
Oh yeah, don't have an option.
Hey, look at that. And there's the other one.
You don't want to start this converter dry, so dumping in a quart now is what you need to do. Be sure to give your torque converter a couple of spins until you feel it fall into place to make sure it's engaged to the pump. Oh yeah, that's it. Gerald, need your help. With the flex plate and adapters in, I'm gonna go grab some hardware.
10-4.
Slow down. We're gonna have to tilt that dude. Talk to me. Here.
Perfect, right there.
That's it.
Yep. When it comes to restoring a vehicle, the list of parts you're going to need can sometimes seem endless. And it always seems like it's the small things like your marker lights and your trim pieces that are the easiest to forget. Original Parts Group has the solution. These marker lamps represent only a fraction of the thousands of items offered by OPGI. Their wide selection includes OE replacement interior and body panels, as well as engine parts, sheet metal, bright trim, and everything in between for your GM A-body and G-bodies. If you're interested in adding a few extra ponies to your project, they do offer performance upgrades as well, ranging from dress-up kits to power packages and complete crate engines. Over 40 years of manufacturing and retailing high-quality restoration components paired with top-notch customer service undoubtedly puts them a step above the competition. So, If you're in need of something as small as a headlamp adjustment screw for a 68 Riviera, or something as large as the roof skin for your 69 GTO Judge, the folks at Original Parts Group can help refurbish your dream machine to its maximum potential.
When it comes to brakes, it's easy to say we all want performance. EBC Brakes has options for thousands of applications, and one of the most simple and fastest upgrades you can do is swap out your pads and rotors. Their Redstuff pads can increase your stopping power by 15 to 20%. A common problem with performance brake pads is the dust that they create. Often that's caused by using steel fiber particles in the compound. These pads don't have that, and what dust is created is minimal and won't harm your wheels. If you say you're more of a spirited driver, or possibly you take your ride to the track every now and then, you may be interested in their Yellowstuff. These work well in a higher heat situation, like a day on the track, or if you're hauling heavy loads with your toy mover. And speaking of your pull rig, if you've installed bigger wheels and tires, they have a larger rotating mass that you're going to have to stop. These are designed to do that well. If you want to take your brakes to the next level, you may want to look at installing a better set of rotors. Dimples and slots on the brake surface do a lot more than just look cool. They help to reduce surface temps that is created from applying the brakes. They also help to expel the dirt, dust, and gases from between the brake pad and the rotor surface as it rotates. All that means more pad contact, which equals better braking. Now this stuff has just been a drop in the bucket of what EBC offers.
You know, guys, it really doesn't matter if you're a weekend hobbyist or an ASE certified mechanic. There's just something about using a professional quality tool. Like this 8-inch locking flex head ratchet and socket set we got from Matco. The adjustable handle makes it easier to crank down recessed bolts at an awkward angle, like the ones on this cross member. Its spline drive provides a universal fit to cover multiple fastener head types for a lot of different applications on your project. Up next, you gotta fight for your right to MoParty. Well, guys, we took old Roadburner out for a spin and landed at one of the hottest events of the year, Holly's MoParty in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
No matter what type of participating you like to do, meaning showing, going, riding, or driving, this event's gonna do one thing for sure: put a smile on your face.
MoParty hasn't been around that long, but has grown to become the premier Mopar event. Thousands of cars and enthusiasts flock to Beach Bend Raceway Park to share their love of all things Mopar.
So MoParty is a fantastic combination of different event segments, which makes it kind of sensory overload for the Mopar enthusiasts. We've got drag racing classes going on over here. We've also got Grand Champion and Autocross going on right here in the oval track. Tomorrow night we're having a burnout challenge. We're having a mullet contest. And then we have a fantastic car show that's taking place as well. One of the other things that we've got going on this weekend for the first time at MoParty is that we've got an off-road experience that we've integrated this year. At the top of the hill in the farm lot, we've got a short course style off-road track. We also have an off-road obstacle course as well. So any vehicle with a Mopar engine that's off-road capable is more than welcome, and see if their vehicle has what it takes to get through that. You have to have your head on a swivel at all times to see what's going on here. It's all just meant to celebrate Mopars and have a great time. So would highly recommend coming out. I am a little biased, but I guarantee you'll have a great time.
We all know at car shows they have classes, and sometimes they're separated by year, make, and model. Now here at the Holly event, they have survivors. I super enjoy checking these things out because to come up with a car like this is extremely difficult because cars are only original once.
And in order to be a member of this particular group of Mopar survivors, you have to meet a certain criteria, including be at least 25 years old, have 85% factory original paint, interior, and drivetrain. To be recognized as a true survivor is to be in some rare air. These rides are held to strict standards. Typically, the only allowed repairs are for safety or maintenance. This 1970 Challenger TA has a 346 pack and torque flight transmission. Plus, all original front disc brakes, shocks, suspension, and paint. Not to mention the original window sticker from the dealer.
We also spotted this amazing 1970 plum crazy purple 440 CUDA. This was a special order due to the high impact paint and has been treated as such. It has a rally instrument cluster, bucket seats, and tinted glass. It even has the original documentation, including the coveted build sheet.
This 1966 Charger has the iconic 426 Hemi, torque flight transmission, original spark plug wires, and even the factory Blue Streak Goodyear spare tire in the trunk. It's got a couple of bumps and bruises, but that's all part of its history and why it's labeled a survivor.
The eye candy at MoParty isn't only paint and high performance. It's also hard to find relics in rusty gold. Looks like a 440, steel crank. You know, it's just something about a pair of dual quads that makes me want to look at it.
Right, this old school.
There's another roll on the other side. Swap meet for days. Mold valve covers just be cool to hang on the wall, and they got them. Some of them are pricey.
Yeah. Pretty cool though. Nostalgia. Speaking of nostalgia, check out that old Barracuda over there.
It's still got the original Certi card in the thing there. I got the build sheet and all for it.
That's pretty cool. We've all heard the story of the little old lady that only drove it on Sundays, but this one is a real example. This little guy has a 273, all original interior, which is still in pretty good shape, and turbine bronze paint. The owner even has the factory hubcaps and rims in the trunk. It needs some work, but all the pieces are there for a decent build. Whether you're looking to do a factory correct original restoration or a late model power plant swap, this ride has the bones to become a decent project. Up next, if you like Mopar, you're gonna love this.
One of the highlights at MoParty is the autocross. Every Mopar, as you can imagine, comes to compete to see who has the fastest piece of Detroit muscle.
I'm competing in the Grand Champion part of Holly MoParty. This is now the third year of this event, and actually my second time driving behind the wheel in this competition. The inaugural year I won the Grand Champion in the vintage class, and Dad actually won it last year in the vintage class as well. I feel confident that we can go 3 in a row, but there's still the unknowns. This is only day one of basically a 3-day event, so you still got a lot of runs. They have 3 different classes that they do based on what style of the vehicle and a year cutoff. We have the vintage class, which we're competing in. They have the late model class, which is the newer Challengers, Chargers, and Neons and stuff like that. But then they also have a truck class for obvious reasons, for trucks, and a lot more cars and a lot more heavy hitters this year than there has been in the past. So on the autocross, it's the fastest time. You get put into like a point structure based on 0 to 100. And then however you are overall. So if I'm first, obviously you get 100 points. If you're 40th, you might get 60 points, something like that. So they put you overall and then basically take the fastest cars out of each class and put them into their own classes and then determine who's first and second and third from there. The most important thing of the car, I think, is yes, you have to have a well sorted out car, but you also have to have the driving experience and kind of skill set. You need to know where to brake, where to stop, where to turn, where to gas up, because anybody off the street can come out and go around cones. It's just a matter of how fast you do it. That's where the driver comes in.
When you come to MoParty, it is definitely all about having fun. You're bound to see plenty of smoky burnouts, even some legendary smokies, But when you're talking about legends, you gotta start at the beginning. This 1959 Dodge Royale. It's a two-door hardtop with a rare and powerful Super D500 with 2 Carter 4-barrel carburetors generating a respectable 345 horsepower. When you think Mopar, you think Chargers, Challengers, Hemi Cudas, but these were the cars that started it all. Class, style, and performance all rolled into one beautiful package.
If shiny and classy isn't your thing, then maybe this crusty cruiser is for you. This old Barracuda has a 383 and a 4-speed, along with a custom bolt-in windshield, and some other, let's call it, unique options. What it lacks in showroom shine, it makes up for with tons of character. This is what's great about MoParty. There's something here for everyone.
Conclusion for the day, this show is definitely a good time, and you can tell by the smile on that man's face.
Man, there ain't no party like a MoParty, and I appreciate you chauffeuring me around for my first time. I've had a blast.
Well, all that means is we gotta come back next year.